Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today we have a channel first. Mantis and I are actually in the same location for the first time. Welcome to the Cadmus studio.
It's great to be here. I like it. I like what you've done with the place. It's a lot better than last time I came down. The pad looks great. I don't know, the bellhop downstairs was kind of rude, but I'll let it slide.
To be fair, the last building was a condemned building, so, bigger budgets.
True.
We haven't put out anything like the Marvels to have to lose a bunch of money. No, Mantis was down here at the studio. We are filming some new stuff that's getting ready to come out to the channel. We're not going to spoil anything, but be on the lookout for that in the next coming weeks. We've got some really, really exciting stuff coming out. So I'm glad you were able to stick around so we could record this video. Makes it a little easier.
It was pertinent, and I don't want to jump the gun on possible future videos of discussion that we're going to do, but, with the Marvels releasing this week, it was last week. Last Friday, yeah, or Thursday. I don't know what the release schedule is for it.
I think it was Thursday.
I don't know. It doesn't
they
matter. It's not important.
The Labor Day thing.
Yeah. But
Veterans Day. I'm sorry, guys. Veterans Day. I apologize to the
yeah.
veterans out there. Veterans Day.
Yeah. It's sad that they had to coincide this horseshit of a movie with Veterans Day. It's just depressing, quite honestly.
Did they think that was going to help?
I don't know. Who knows? But in any event, today we are discussing one main thing, but it's an article that I saw in Variety titled "Crisis at Marvel." Jonathan Majors' backup plans, the Marvels reshoots, reviving the original Avengers, and more issues revealed. So it's kind of basically like, what shit has fucked up right now?
So, Mantis, do you want to explain to everybody, if they don't know who Kang is, who he is in the Marvel world and what's going on?
Oh, I don't know who Kang is.
You don't know who Kang is?
No.
So did you watch the whole series, the Loki series, the first season?
I did watch all of it, but again, this a couple of years and I watched it once, so I
don't blame you. At the very end, he's talking to Kang, the Time Master guy.
Yeah.
The Conqueror King.
Yeah, and he was in I won't call it a spaceship, but it kind of looked like it was in space, right?
Well, it's outside normal
space.
Time and space.
Oh, okay.
So that's where he exists. Where then he can go into all these other timelines and such. So for Mantis, and then for everybody watching who doesn't know what's going on with Jonathan Majors, the actor who plays Kang, in March he was arrested. It was domestic violence disputes. There's more than one charge. A little bit less of a severe incident than what's going on with Ezra Miller at DC, but apparently these actors just can't stop getting arrested. They're not 100% sure whether or not they're going to have to actually replace him they'd already filmed Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumanium or whatever, but going forward...
Do they know? I mean, has it been proven, or is it just allegations?
He was arrested for it after the fact, so he didn't get arrested at the particular incident. The allegations came out, and then he was later arrested. So apparently they had enough evidence to at least arrest him. Okay. I think the trial's still pending. I hadn't heard any more on it.
That doesn't bode well for him. But I see their concern after seeing what happened, like you mentioned with Ezra Miller. We don't want to be in the same situation.
Right?
Yeah.
And you don't want to plan out 9 more movies that is going to potentially involve Kang, and then
be in litigation. Right.
Yeah, and you're and then, or maybe they try to attach something tomorrow, or, come after Disney, whatever.
Sure. Yeah. I totally understand them kind of want to just, back away from that. And I mean, I don't know, again, and maybe it's just the attribution to his acting, but he's apparently forgettable for me, because I quite frankly don't remember.
I was going to say, he seemed like he made a lasting impression on you.
Yeah, I mean, and maybe that's just me. Again, and I don't, Cal will be the first to tell you, my memory is not very good, so I've seen several movies, and he'll quote them to the T, and I'll just be like, yeah, I remember that. I've seen it, but I couldn't quote it to you or remember exactly what the fucker was wearing. But, we all have our gifts. Mine is not in, movie quotes or wardrobe malfunctions, essentially. But yeah, I totally, I feel like if it was a decent performance, I probably would have remembered it, even if it was a cameo at the end of the series.
Well, and we talked about in our videos with the inconsistencies with the top characters that we want to see come into the MCU. We had mentioned Kang as far as he's one of those guys that he's like, there are so many of the Avengers that have actually beaten Kang that he's just not like, I don't feel like you should be setting him up as a main kinda. Like he doesn't have any real powers. He knows everything that's going to happen. Supposedly,
even when he gets his ass kicked, he knows that.
I guess that was he pulled the Thanos thing. He's like, I'm going to only win one of 14, million 601, and he's just like hoping he's going to recreate that one. I don't know, but he's not a great. I'm not the biggest fan of him being a villain, like especially doing anything where it's like a main. Like, we're going to do multiple movies leading up to him, like they tried to do through Loki and now Ant-Man. I'm not a fan of it, but. And then that brings the whole Infinity Stones. Don't get me started on that. We're not going to do that again. So, obviously trying to figure out what they're going to do. Do you replace Kang? I'd say just go ahead and get rid of the character.
Yeah, I mean, he's already in there. I mean, you can totally write him out of it at this point. You don't have to. You haven't invested heavily in it, I don't think. So you could totally move away from it, recast it, whatever. Like I don't hate on movies for recasting characters. Like I don't. Like I think it's fine. Again, there are certain, if it hits home, that's different. I mean, obviously, like, I would have been upset after seeing Blade if they recast Wesley Snipes as Blade in Blade 2. I would be mildly upset with that,
So now, if Wesley Snipes did Blade 1 and 2, but then they brought Kevin Hart in for Blade 3, how would you have felt about that?
Knowing how Blade 3 is, probably not that upset. Honestly, even Wesley Snipes probably been okay with it. But, I mean, it is what it is. It's honestly, you can't foretell the future type deal. But, I mean, again, as far as recasting characters, they are characters. We're talking about, plays. And this is just another theatrical art, right? And different people can play different characters, right? I don't have a problem with recasting a character as long as it makes sense and as long as it's not. I don't know. Like, again, like who's the character that plays holy shit, Samuel Jackson plays
Nick
Fury. Like in the video game, the Avengers. What's the Avengers game that came out? It was like a 4-player co-op, Avenger Alliance,
Ultimate Alliance.
Why did I say Avenger Alliance? Marvel Ultimate Alliance. He's white in that game, right?
And he was,
yeah,
like he was.
But I don't hate Samuel Jackson's Nick Fury. Like in the earlier movies, he's kind of become like a cuck here in the last couple, the series and the movies he's been in, been kind of a cuck. But it's whatever. But like I don't recasting him with Samuel Jackson. I don't really care. Like it worked. He did the character fine. I think it was okay. I think they kind of screwed him here in the last couple of movies and series he's been in. But that has nothing to do with his acting. It's literally the writing.
Yeah, and that's kind of, and it leads on to the next point on this article. It's talk about Jonathan Majors and what they're going to do, but then the Marvels. Okay, so you want to talk about writing, acting as well, but let's focus on the writing. Okay, so for all of you who were fortunate enough to not go see this movie in theaters, it is the worst Marvel opening since they've launched the MCU back in 2008 with Iron Man. By far the worst. And it was still one of the more costly ones. Not obviously the most or that, but still one of the more costly ones. And it did terrible opening weekend.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned since Iron Man, we talked about this in our rankings of the Marvel Universe, the first phase 1 through 3. I like Iron Man as a movie. I love that movie. It's awesome. I think it just... Again, it was one of the first movies they put out. I think that's just why it suffered at the box office. Like, if it would be released now with the backing of what the MCU is, maybe it's not possible because it was built on Iron Man. Maybe that hype isn't possible to get the box office numbers up. But you're right. Like, it's the reshoots they had to do because the test audiences just despised it. They hated it. I mean, like. I don't know if you can fix it with reshoots. I think people do not like the character, Ms. Marvel and Captain Marvel.
Miss Marvel, actually, I've not seen the Disney Plus show, but Miss Marvel, of all the people who I've seen actually do ratings of the movie, said she's probably the only good thing in the show, but they liked her from the Marvel series, the Miss Marvel series, that she did a really good job. That'd probably be the only reason why to go see it. From what I hear, she does a good job, and because she had a series, they set up the character a little bit better. And she obviously is not a fucking block of wood, Brie Larson style.
I would say you're exactly right. Like from the trailer and the scenes I've seen of the movie, she is probably the only bright spot in it, which is a tragic shame because if she does a great job with the character in the comics, they kill Ms. Marvel off in a fucking Spider-Man comic. Like, it's the dumbest shit. Like, I'm not a comic book writer. That just seems stupid. And, again, the only thing I can tell you about this, like, in the game, no, not good. Not good. Had nothing to do with her character, obviously, the actress. Just the character writing in that game was bad. But yeah, I Brie Larson, you're right. Just like stone-faced and no emotion, just...
Spy.
Where? Now?
Been right.
Name a detail so bizarre a scroll could never fabricate it.
So weird because like in 21 Jump Street, I thought she was great. She was funny. She was likable. And then she just went feminist.
And I don't know if it's that... I don't know. Maybe she just can't play this character. Because again, even in the Captain Marvel movie... I didn't particularly like her in that either. It's not like it's just a one-off thing. Like this is her take on the character, I assume.
Well, no, I mean like even when you watch interviews with her, she's in like pantsuits, like trying to look manly, like Amber Heard did during her trial, where she's wearing like Dr. Evil looking fucking suit.
Sure.
Like they're taking away their femininity, trying to act like in a man's world. But then she's posting like workout videos and stuff, and I'm like, okay, go one way or another. What are you doing, right?
Yeah.
Because you're playing this the way you do this character, and it was just terrible. The character, I think, is poorly written. It's absolute trash the way she plays it, and I would like to hope it's just her take on the character. She's just not meant for these types of movies.
Yeah.
Go back to some teen drama bullshit or whatever, because you're just destroying this one.
Yeah, I mean, in the comics, Captain Marvel is pretty harsh. The way she deals with situations, like there's several times where she sacrifices people to get the hell out of the crap. Right? There several times noted in the comics that she does that. It's just she doesn't come off that way in the movies. She doesn't come off as like heartless. She just comes off as just zero personality. Like it's not
like Captain Marvel's a fucking Terminator or something.
Right. Yeah, it has nothing to do with she has no empathy. She just is. I don't know.
She's gonna be going up to Miss Marvel. I know now why you cry. It is something I can never do. Right. Gotta be that bullshit.
I've not seen the movie, so
spoiler alert. Don't intend to.
Yeah, not seen the movie. It's hard to criticize it. It's just based off of what we've seen of the numbers, the screenings, the reviews. I know it's gone up a little bit from the initial opening night. It jumped. There was a couple of good reviews that came in for it, but
they paid them off.
It has to be. It has to be. I've seen, and another thing, going back to what they did to these actresses. I've seen pictures of the three actresses that play the Kamala Khan, Carol Danvers, and I don't remember the other...
Miss Marvel's actual name.
Yeah, well, I thought Kamala Khan was Miss Marvel. Is it not? Who's the black chick?
That's what I don't know.
Yeah.
She was into WandaVision.
Yeah.
She was in WandaVision.
I don't know that superhero. You see pictures of these women, like, on the red carpet, they're hot. They're attractive. What they did to them in this movie, I'm just like, what? I don't expect them to fucking fly around like Supergirl with a fucking cut-off dress. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying the way they act, they're unattractive. I don't know how to read. I don't know how you're going to interpret that. But,
okay, let's go back to real quick. Like we talked about in If you haven't seen where we rank the DCEU movies as well, go check it. That was released this last Monday. But we talked about Wonder Woman. Okay, now yeah, she's in the little skirt and stuff, but it's not about that. She's feminine, right? And that itself is attractive. Just because we talk about a strong female lead, it's not a strong female lead if they're acting like a dude. You know, it's just like you want them to be very feminine, but and strong in that, right? Yes. And pose that. So her being the way she was, and them highlighting how, yes, she is very, very attractive, and yes, she's in the skirt, but it's not like it was one of those that are, just below her freaking cooch. It's like, it was a long metal fucking skirt.
It has nothing to do, again, Carol Danvers is in a full bodysuit, right? You don't see anything. That's fine. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying her attitude, how she acts, how they portray.
That's what I'm saying.
Is not. It's not attractive. I don't know how to explain it. Like, I don't call her a bitch, but she kind of acts like a bitch. She kind of acts like a bitch, and that's not attractive. I don't know.
Well, and then so we take, for spoiler alert for those of you who haven't seen it. If you do want to go watch it, maybe skip this part, put it on mute. But the villain is basically Ronan the Destroyer from freaking Guardians of the Galaxy, where he had the hammer and he had the Power Stone in there, where he's basically that, except they made it a female with just a slightly smaller version of that hammer, somehow still glowing purple even though there's no Power Stone in there.
Makes no sense.
And I'm like, so you didn't even try to create a unique villain, right? You just made the same thing but a female.
And I don't know, again, down in the comments, let us know. Is the villain for the Marvels? Is that an actual villain from the comic book? Like, did someone actually just write a reskin Ronan? Like, is that what happened? Maybe it is. I'm just saying for the TV viewing audience that doesn't know any of this shit, it looks like they just kind of phoned it in. And was like, let's just bring Ronan in here, make the hammer smaller, and then make it a chick. Like, that's what it looks like.
Well, because, the first one dealt with the Kree and the Skrulls. The first Captain Marvel dealt with the Kree and the Skrull. Well, Ronan was Kree. So it looks like and now granted, she's not blue.
Right.
But it looks like they just did the same thing, and they give her that hammer. Just literally looks
the same. Yeah.
Identical. Except smaller version. Again, it's still glowing purple. There's no Power Stone in it, but it still has the same purple glow in the dead center like it has the Power Stone. Like, it's like I went on when I'm editing and I just shrank the hammer down, but it's still purple glow, and I'm like, all right, we're going to give it to this person now.
Right.
Just shit. It just, like, you put no effort into it. And that's the big thing, right? Is
this is just the beginning.
Marvel right now, as it seems at least, you're banking on your name, right? Oh, we're so big we can't fail. You're putting no effort into your movies.
Yeah. And they're getting to a point, and this has been discussed, reviving the original Avengers. And what we're talking about is obviously Tony Stark didn't survive. Black Widow didn't survive. And they're wanting to...
Captain America's old as shit.
Right. Yeah. And they're wanting to bring them back. There is space for it in the lore to do that. That doesn't mean you should. I'm a fan of it. I know you are as well. When characters die, there is no impact when they can just be brought back to life. Or there's we'll just grab them from Earth 855, right? Like, these things, they take away from the gravity of the story. If it doesn't matter if you die, then what is the point?
So, and I don't have it pulled up because, we're not, we don't script these, right? We're discussing, and as we go off on our tangents and Squirrel pops in, boom, we go off into a different direction, so I'm not prepared for this. But Robert Downey Jr., I will cut it in for you guys. Robert Downey Jr. is doing a show with not Seth Rogen. Seth Rogen. Joe Rogan.
Okay.
Joe Rogan. I don't know why I was thinking Seth Rogen. Joe Rogan. And he asked him, goes, so is the door open for Iron Man 4 for you to come back? And he goes, well, let me ask you. He goes, would you want me to come back? He said, wouldn't you feel like you've been cheated if we did this huge culmination of everything where I sacrificed myself, and they just, he goes, would you want me to come back on that, or wouldn't you just feel like, that was all for nothing? Like,
is the door to Iron Man totally closed? Because I don't believe it is.
Oh.
You guys can go through time now. You can go, you already opened up that door.
Well, let me ask you the question. If I pick the jersey back up and put it on, wouldn't you feel a little bit like,
No.
crap?
No.
Oh.
Here's what I think.
All right.
They go through a few semi-lackluster Avengers movies without you. You ready?
I'll cut that in there because it's amazing, because he's right. He's 100% right? Like, we got invested in this character. It was sad. A lot of people cried that he's dead. If they just turn around the next movie, he's back. Like, then you're like, who the fuck cares?
Like, why am I watching this movie then?
It's like the Flash on CW. They keep bringing back Harrison Wells, and they kill him off in this. He sacrifices himself. Well, they just go next season to another Earth and get another Harrison Wells, and then they have the Council of. It got ridiculous, and they just. Towards the end, they just spoofed it, man, and they just ran on with it. What are we going to get this year, But it's just kind of like, come on, man. Like, deaths are meaningless. Sacrifices are meaningless.
Right. It waters down the content of the story. I hate that. I really do. It's kind of one of those things, I was bringing to the Star Wars universe because Marvel, Disney, this is not in the realm of what we're talking about here with Marvel, but, Harrison Ford is on record plenty of times saying he wants to die. Like, kill off Han Solo. Just kill him. Just kill him. I want to die. And they finally do it, and it's in a weird way, and then they have to bring him back, and it's just so stupid. It's so dumb. I'm a fan. You like the Game of Thrones, right? Like,
yeah.
It's one of the reasons why Game of Thrones hits so hard. The only character that ever comes back in that is Jon Snow. And when people die in that, it hits, right? Like, you're the holy. Like, I know how many of you watch out there. You're comic book fans, but you're also probably good lore and you're good entertainment fans. I'm sure you've seen that show, and when that episode of The Red Wedding hits, you're just like, holy shit, is this for real? Like, oh, this is actually happening. They're killing off half the cast. Like, this is actually happening. And it's just like, boom, punches you. All of a sudden, there's like, YouTube videos of bars watching it, and they're just gasping, and people reaction videos watching it, and you're just like, holy crap, this actually happened. That you lose that. You're right. Like, if all of a sudden, that main scene at the end of Endgame with Tony sacrificing himself to save all those people just means nothing. Like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? Like, what's the point?
That's what I'm saying. Like, if you want to bring him back in clips showing earlier stuff, like, there's, because Pepper has the suit and with the daughter stuff, like earlier things and earlier scenes, I'm okay with
like
that,
flashback
right?
training,
flashback stuff. Or, he's back, but he's not back. It's just they filmed some stuff that they didn't have any footage of, trying to show something earlier. I'm okay with that. I don't want any prequels. We don't need any prequels, because the whole point was, up until the Iron Man thing, he was this billionaire playboy sex addict kind of dude.
Genius, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist.
Like, he wasn't focused on this, so you're not going to convince me. And that's the shit they've tried.
Yeah.
Let's do a prequel where he was really thinking about this, but then he just kind of went crazy again. And then now he settles that. No.
Yeah,
but they would try.
In the cave. He's like, you remember that suit I was thinking about in the prequel? Oh, now it makes sense. No.
Yeah, like, I just had this design for this suit that I drew out years ago and stuff, and I just had it with me when we got shot down. Got shot.
There's a reason why the original is so well liked, right? There's those movies, those characters that you can't remake and you can't redo and you can't bring back, and it's better off leaving them the way they are. I don't know. I feel maybe let us know in the comments if you feel the same way about reviving characters in future movies. Cameos. I will say, like with like the Obi-Wan series that I watched, there was a little pull at the heartstrings at the end of the first season that you see Qui-Gon as a ghost. That stuff I'm okay with. It's a little nod at the end of the series, and that's what it is, and that's fine, and that needs to stay. That's all it is. I'm cool with that. But making him an integral part, quote unquote, bringing him back to life, and now he's a main character again. Nope, not for it. Not for it at all.
So let me ask you a question. How do you feel about Darth Maul coming back?
Like in the Clone Wars?
Yeah, well, I mean, he did come back, but like if they did in a movie, they brought him back.
No, I mean, so there's definite controversy about this. In the Clone Wars, you know, he is it the Clone Wars? Let us know. I know there's one. He's a spider, half spider thing.
I don't know that that's Clone Wars.
Maybe it's the Rebels. I get these confused. But
I thought in Clone Wars he just came back, like he didn't die.
No. He got cut in half. No. Clone Wars. So he is fighting Ahsoka in the Clone Wars. Now we're off on a tangent here. He does in the very last episode. Ahsoka fights Darth Maul, but that's not where. I don't know. Let us know. I'm confused because I distinctly remember him being found on a planet with like a half spider body.
I remember the spider legs. So I just didn't know that. I didn't think that was Clone Wars. Could be wrong.
It may not have been. It may have been another series, quite frankly. But yeah, as far as him coming back in the cartoon, it kind of bothered me. You get cut in half. Even him coming back on the spider thing, I'm just like, man, why are we doing this? Like, he had a cool death. He had fucking cut in half. Like in Star Wars at the time, that was pretty groundbreaking. It may be one of my favorite lightsaber fight scenes. I know we are way off on a tangent now. It may be one of my favorite lightsaber fights in a Star Wars movie. But the way he died, his death, because I like horror movies. So the kills, like, that's a cool kill, like in a horror flick. That is a cool kill in a Star Wars movie. There's none other like it.
At least see there, I could give you because Star Wars there wasn't any blood because it would have cauterized the wounds as it went. So yeah, sure. it kept, and as quick as it went through cauterized, there was no blood. I'll give you that. We aren't going to go off on too much of a tangent here because the video's already running long. We will do a whole nother episode on Star Wars.
Yeah.
I will say though in Clone Wars because Sam Witwer he voices the son of Mortis, which is basically the dark side of the Force. Mm-hmm. So I know he did that, and I think Palpatine in there, but I don't know that he does Darth Maul in there. I know he does Darth Maul.
At last we will reveal ourselves to the Jedi. At last we will have revenge. So I had to use that voice as the building block to create my Darth Maul, which has elements of both, but it goes in its own direction.
But I think it's in a different series, so maybe we're both wrong on that. Let us know down in the comments on that. Also, if you just wanted us to shut up about Star Wars. But if you have seen the Marvels and you think it's worth a watch for us to watch, let us know.
And why.
Yeah, let us know why. I mean, legitimate reasons. Yeah. Like, hey, maybe this was good. Maybe we are just being a little too harsh. On, but we are also going off what a lot of other reviews have said. So let us know. It'll be something that we will watch, and then we will do not a reaction, but we'll do a discussion recap video of it ourselves then, if you think that it's something we need to watch. So
yeah, and I don't want it as you need to see it because they're strong, this and that, or there's a female lead, or because you need to watch it because it supports women in acting. No. I don't care about the women aspect of it. I want concrete evidence that this is an entertaining movie. We talk about this all the time. I watch this to be entertained. That's it. That's the only reason.
Characters with depth. Yeah. I need a good story, and I need a good villain.
Yeah.
I need those elements, otherwise I'm not going to watch the movie. So if you think it has those and you can kind of bullet point why, let us know. We will take a watch, and then we will do a recap of it. Other than that, I have no...
Yeah. I need a reason.
I'm not going to watch.
I need a reason, because from the reviews that I've seen, it's not worth my... What is it now? $15 for a freaking ticket?
At least.
Like... Fucking, I'm not paying $15 to watch shit.
To be fair, right now, Disney Plus can give me a free month, and I'm still not going to watch it.
Yeah.
So, like, if I could go back and if I had one of those little Men in Black flashy things, and I could erase the first Captain Marvel movie, I would. But...
Flashy thing me?
I ain't playing with you, Mantis. You're a flash thing me? Alright, guys, so... if you've made it this far, definitely consider giving this video a like, subscribing to the channel. Like I said, we've got a lot of content. That's why Mantis is in studio here. We got a lot of content getting ready to drop. So hit that subscribe button. Make sure you do the little bell and all that bullshit. I hate doing those. But, we are working really, really hard to bring you some really good content coming up here soon. So don't miss out on that. Be subscribed. And definitely comment down below and let us know what you thought. Until then, Mantis, unless you have anything?
No, I'm good.
It's just weird you being in this studio with me.
It's a lot.
All right, then you don't have anything, guys? We will catch you next time.
Later.
He still does that, so you're not going to ever get rid of that.
No, it's gonna happen.
Yes.